Hello and welcome to a bit of a different video, because today I'm going to be rearranging this, the figure collection, because we've had some new Doctor Who B&M figure sets, which is so satisfying. Once you've completed a wave of B&M figure sets, you're like, the quest is over, I don't have to worry. I mean, if the rumours are true, then we're going to have to be doing it in December. But I do have quite some exciting plans for December if the rumours are true about those B&M figure sets, because I'm going to be doing, obviously, the reviews. I'll do a figure collection, and I'll do like a video covering Doctor Who figures of 2020, because 2020's been a brilliant year for figures. We've had a 13th Doctor wave of figures, and of course a load of B&M figure sets. So I've been very much inspired by our Doctor Who figure lord, Batmanmarch, because he basically did this type of video last year, of basically adding the new B&M sets and sort of talking about it. So the way this video is going to work is I'm obviously going to show you how the collection looks right now. Then I'm going to obviously look at each shelf individually and talk about some of my favourite figures on that shelf. And then at the end of the video, you'll see all the new B&M figure sets added to the collection. So that's basically the way this video is going to work. So without further ado, let's look at the collection. So here we have shelf number 1 with the first 3 Doctors on there, which is all very cool. So the first Doctor TARDIS is the only TARDIS I've got actually on in the actual shelves, because I thought it'd be quite fitting just to have the TARDIS there to sort of kickstart the journey, because I feel like the TARDIS take a little bit of room, so they're displayed elsewhere. But there we go, this is the first Doctor, mostly Daleks and 10th Planet Cybermen, because I managed to get quite a few Age of Steel sets back in like B&M in 2012 for like £10, so I did do a little bit of army building. Got my little Dodo for a little joke, because, you know, first Doctor companion Dodo, thought it'd be quite funny. But there we go, Invasion Cybermen. Love my Invasion Cybermen, probably my favourite Cyberman design. Then we've got the revised Brigadier figure there, go with the second Doctor. Hopefully one day we'll have a Jamie, be exciting. And obviously got my little 3 Doctors display there, with obviously first Doctor and second and third, and obviously for Joe and Omega and the Gel Guard. And then obviously we're going to be adding Captain Yates and Sergeant Benton, which is going to be so satisfying to add those. But yeah, you get the sort of drift there. And obviously if there's sort of a regeneration sort of figure, I tend to put them next to each other, because I feel like it's quite a nice transition. My figure collection isn't really in chronological order, I kind of do it just Doctor by Doctor and what looks cool. Moving down to Tom Baker. So yeah, we've got to be started with the 4th Doctor there. And obviously we'll be putting Revenge of a Cyberman Sarah Jane there instead, and obviously I think that Sarah Jane will probably go down with the 10th Doctor, because it looks very much how she looked in Stolen Earth. So yeah, this is how the 4th Doctor collection looks at the minute. Obviously we'll be adding the companions of the 4th Doctor, which I'm so excited about, you know, to have good old 2 Romanas there, and Romana 2 is going to look great next to the Destiny Daleks there, so I'm very excited to be adding those. Obviously the 80s, not really anything changing there, but obviously we'll have a closer look at some of my favourite figures from this sort of area of figures. And we've got sort of the revised Daleks, which are all very cool there, and the Imperial Daleks, some of my favourites. Moving down to sort of a little 8th Doctor and War Doctor section. I did put the Sontarans there because, you know, they did appear in Dark Eyes, and it makes the 8th Doctor have a bit more variety on the figure shelf. There we've got the Genetic Handprint Dalek and the Father's Day sort of 9th Doctor, then the Time Crash set, the Gelf collect and build figure, all various figures. One of my favourite figures, Dalek Mutant reveal. So yeah, it's all very cool. This is how it basically looks at the minute, but obviously got to find a proper place for the Genesis arc, because I need to find a proper place for that, because I've just basically bunged it there for now, because I was hoping for the new B&M sets to sort of rearrange it all, and now I can finally do that. Then we move down to the latter end of the 10th Doctor there. I've got my little adipose, which are all very cool. Obviously we've got the Time Crash set there, and the Vesper form, my army of new series Sontarans, looking very cool. And then a little End of Time thing, and then obviously moving into the 11th Doctor there with the Paradigm Daleks. And the final shelf, as you can see, just got various monsters, Pandorica, you know, so that's how it all sort of looks at the minute. And then move on to Peter Capaldi and Jodie. Obviously we've got the fam already there, which is pretty cool. Nice little 13th Doctor display really coming along, and obviously we've got the American exclusive Jodie, which, you know, knowing me, I am probably going to buy. And that's the B&M Cyberman, what I was on about, what works very well for the 13th Doctor, because it's sort of less corroded, but I'll give you a closer look at that in a minute. So let the rearranging begin. So here we have the first shelf of the first 3 Doctors. You can see quite a few Cybermen, and obviously quite a load of Daleks, as you can see. So I thought I'd talk about some lesser known variants, what people might not know about, especially with the Doctors. So obviously the first Doctor, we have the San Diego Comic-Con one there, and this is the Toys R Us one. As you can see, a lot more sort of different paint apps, a lot more crisper on the Toys R Us one, and a lot more vibrant blue cravat. And then obviously this is one what not many people might not know. So this one is the 11 Doctor's second Doctor, and this is the one what come in the Evil of the Daleks 2-pack. As you can see, a lot of different paint apps on the face. This one has a darker blue shirt and a different sort of handkerchief, and obviously the main difference being the glossy jacket, and obviously this has sort of more of a brown tinge to the trousers and has sort of the matte boots instead of this one has the sort of glossy boots, as you can see. And obviously Evil of the Daleks has a slightly different Dalek, obviously the eye stalk's slightly different, and this is the Toys R Us one with the orange dome lights. Moving on to the incredible 10th Planet Cybermen. So this is basically the enemies of the first Doctor one, because it has a slightly darker mask compared to the Age of Steel one. As you can see, a lot more paler. And then obviously we've got the sort of black and white Tomb Cyberman, which I do have boxed as well, alongside with the black and white first Doctor as well. So yeah, then the Invasion Cybermen, lovely. Then we've got the original Brigadier figure from the B&M line, and then we have the revised. Moving to the Ice Warriors now. So this is the original Wave release, and this is the B&M one. As you can see, it's slightly darker, and obviously got sort of a darker brown fur design to it. And obviously, look at the Sea Devil. Obviously, that's quite a notable difference, and obviously the differences in the Commander links. But moving on to some of my favourite figures from this sort of shelf. Obviously, the Third Doctor, particular highlight, but probably my favourite Third Doctor figure is the Sea Devil one, because it's probably my favourite Third Doctor costume. I just absolutely love that, but I do love the Planet of the Daleks Third Doctor. Even though it's inaccurate, I just love it. And I do love the Invasion of the Dinosaurs one and the Paladin one. That's probably my favourite First Doctor, and then obviously favourite Second Doctor, obviously that one. Then the War Games is pretty cool. And obviously we've got the lovely Sergeant Benton and Captain Yates, and obviously my favourite Joe Grant. Another variant, what people might not know, is obviously this is the original Claws of Axos one, and this is the Time Monster Roger Delgado. You can see the suit's a lot more glossy on the Time Monster one. So yeah, those are sort of variants. I love the Omega figure. That's a great figure, and the Gel Guard is very cool. And of course, who could forget the Jurassic hand puppet? One of the most iconic things. Look at that, it's incredible. It's a Jurassic. Amazing. In terms of favourite Daleks from this sort of shelf, I do love the new shiny Dead Planet Daleks. I think they're very cool. And obviously I really do love the Chase Guard Dalek. I hope that we get another release of that, because it'd be great to have another one of those. And I really do love the Dalek Master Plan Supreme. It's one of my favourites. And then obviously we have the Death to the Daleks, which I just love. I think they're underrated, especially this one. I love this one. It's one of my favourite Dalek designs. I just love the colour scheme of the silver and black. Then obviously I do, of course, love the anti-light wave reflectant Dalek. Bit of a mouthful, but it is a brilliant Dalek. It is absolutely magnificent. I do love that one. And of course, the Planet Supreme, marvellous. So here is the Fourth Doctor era in figure form. Yeah, quite a few figures obviously, because obviously Tom Baker's long run. So here we have the different variations of the Fourth Doctor, as you can see, and a few more down there towards the latter end of his era. But if we take a look at the season 12, Tom, so this is the original Wave 1, Fourth Doctor. Then this is the Fourth Doctor and TARDIS one, because it has a glossy finish to the jacket. And then we have the Fourth Doctor Adventure set one there with the shorter scarf. Then we have the Toys R Us Fourth Doctor with the mud on the trousers, the Genesis of the Daleks one. Then we have the B&M Fourth Doctor there, obviously much more simplified paint apps compared to the Forbidden Planet Pyramids of Mars Fourth Doctor, which is probably my favourite Fourth Doctor figure. And the Seeds of Doom, Tom Baker, and then the 11 Doctors one. Then we have the revised Talons of Weng Chiang Fourth Doctor, the original release here. And then the revised one with obviously the correct shoes instead of the boot, which is kind of odd. The Sharda one. We have the original City of Death, Tom Baker, and the B&M one, as you can see. A lot more better paint apps on the B&M one, as you can see, with the scarf. Other little variant is obviously the Master. This one is the B&M one, a lot more sort of silver on the actual costume. And obviously the original sort of mass-produced one had the gold sash and doesn't have the sort of grey detailing on there. Other few differences, obviously we have the Zygon. This is the Wave 1 one there, and this is the B&M one, a lot more orange in colour, as you can tell. And then obviously this is the B&M D84, obviously with the non-movable sort of D84 printed on there, and obviously this would have been a sticker on. Other variants, we have the original Sontaran Experiment Steyr, and then the B&M one But in terms of favourites, I have to say that I absolutely love the Morbius figure. I think that's a great figure, and obviously my favourite 4th Doctor figure there, the Pyramids of Mars one there. Absolutely love it, and I do love the Shada 4th Doctor, but I do absolutely love the Genesis Daleks. They're my absolute favourite Daleks in the show's history. I just love the sort of grey and the black. They do look like little war machines really, and I absolutely love them. And obviously there's quite a few variants of them. Obviously the Toys R Us one, and obviously the original release, and then those two come with Davros. K1 is probably my favourite of the character options line. He's just an absolute brilliant figure. I love him. Vok robots I love because I just love robots to death. And of course, got to mention this Sutek with the glowing eyes, absolutely wonderful. And the Zygon figure, great figure as well, and the Mummies, lovely, and of course the Crinoid. And yeah, Revenge Cybermen are great. They look great as figure form, so yeah, I love them. And of course, the companions of the 4th Doctor. So here are the remaining figures on the second shelf. As you can see, it's mainly 5th Doctor, 6th Doctor, 7th Doctor, and a little bit of 8th Doctor there, and quite a few Daleks and Cybermen. So if we have a look at the 5th Doctor variants now, and then I'll talk about some of my favourites. So we've got the Regeneration 5th Doctor there, the Castrovalve, the one with the Logopolitan. Be interesting to see if they use that one for the Castrovalve TARDIS, or they just use the standard one with no celery. Then we've got the Planet Fly one, but this is probably my favourite 5th Doctor figure, the Resurrection of the Daleks one, because I just think the costume's a lot more vibrant, so it really does pop on the shelf. Again, the Toys R Us Resurrection of the Daleks one, the 13 Doctors one, the B&M regenerated one, then the 6th Doctor regenerated one, quite a highly sought after figure. The 6th Doctor's got quite a few little interesting variants, what people might not know. So this is the Wave 1 6th Doctor. This is the Revelation of the Daleks 6th Doctor. You can see the difference in sort of the paint taps, and obviously the necktie and the sort of vibrancy of the coat compared to the other ones, and obviously there's sort of different paint taps in terms of like the cravat and etc. But the Attack of the Cybermen one, I would probably say, has got one of the best sort of paint taps for the 6th Doctor. It's really good paint taps, and so actually as well the Revelation of the Dalek 6th Doctor, very good paint taps as well. And then we've got Terror of the Voids, then Real Time, which is probably one of my favourite Colin Baker figures, probably my favourite maybe, because I definitely prefer the Real Time one to the 13 Doctors one, but that's pretty cool. And then we've got the variant of Perry, and then the 7th Doctor. Yeah, quite a few little variants. So this is the one that will come with the Imperial Dalek. As you can see, slight difference in the trousers compared to the Toys R Us one. And then that's the B&M one. Again, slight differences in the trousers. Hopefully you can see it on camera, but they are slightly different. And then we've got the TARDIS one for 7th Doctor and TARDIS. Again, slight difference in the trousers than the 11 Doctors one. 13 Doctors set one. Then I kind of think this is sort of a comic 7th Doctor, because it just looks like a nice little transition. Then the TV movie one, and then the various little aces, and then the 2 Megans, which are great. I think this is probably my favourite Megan figure. I just think it looks great. And of course you've got the various Cybermen there, so the Earthshock, Attack of the Cybermen, Stealth Cyberman, the Rogue Cyberman, then the original Silver Nemesis twin pack, and then the B&M one. And then we've got some of my favourite Daleks. Actually, I absolutely love these, the Axis Strike Squad Daleks. They look amazing. They do look like sort of Series 1 Supreme Daleks. I just love them, they're great. Then we've got the Necros Daleks. This one is the one that come in the original Revelation of a Dalek set. As you can see, slightly different bronze. And then this is the sound effects one, slightly different, because obviously the one will come in the Toys R Us set, this one has got more of a glossy finish to it compared to sort of the matte finish on that one. And then obviously you've got the various Davroses. I'd love to get another Revelation Renegade Dalek, because I think they look so cool. And then the Davroses there, slight differences. And then the Supreme, and then the Toys R Us Resurrection Dalek with the orange dome lights. Then the lovely Emperor Davros. Oh yes, and then probably my favourite Imperial Dalek, the original release, because, you know, the longer eye stalk, it just looks more sort of Dalek, special weapons Dalek. Remembrance set one, then Destroyed Imperial, and then the 2 Renegade Daleks, what I love. And then the Supreme Dalek, I really do like, because that was the first sort of classic Dalek I got, because I got the Product Enterprise remote control version and Dalek Alpha. Absolutely stunning figure, does stand out, and that's definitely one of my favourites from that. So here we have the third shelf, the start of the modern day new series figures. And over here we have the first 2 figures kick off the collection alongside the Rose Tyler figure there. That basically kicked off this whole entire collection. So we've got the Interrogator Prime Daleks. I personally do prefer the sort of darker colour scheme compared to the more sort of brightly coloured one. And then the 2 Scientist Daleks, I personally prefer the revised one, because I like the sort of bluey silver look to it. And then obviously we've got the revised 8th Doctor with a darker leather jacket compared to the first release with the more bluey jacket. And obviously the other variant of the 8th Doctor there for Jan McGann, and then obviously I picked up another War Doctor so I could display the sort of Dark Eyes 8th Doctor head, which is very cool, and then the B&M War Doctor, then the original War Doctor. I use the scarf from the 8th Doctor onto the revised B&M one, and this probably my favourite War Doctor figure because I just prefer the sort of more darker jacket, and obviously we have the red waistcoat which just pops on the figure. Then we've got the various Autons there, and obviously some more figures there, the Cassandras. Destroyed Cassandra I did use as Morbius. I always use that as sort of the brain of Morbius, that. And then obviously you've got a great Dalek there, the Emperor Guard Dalek, love that. And obviously the many 10th Doctor figures what we've had, and obviously the variant of the 9th Doctor there, which are all very cool, as you can see. Father's Day 1, 13th Doctor 1, Toys R Us 1, Generation 10th Doctor, Werewolf, one of my absolute favourite figures, I love that. The Sycorax, great figures. Then the Clockwork Droid, and now this, the Clockwork Droid's a bit of an unknown variant, as you can see. He's got more of a blue sort of jacket. If I can get that into the light compared to the other one, you can see that there is a slight difference in colour. Obviously this is more sort of navy, that's just the standard black. Then we've got the 3 Scarecrows, Toby Zed, and then we've got the American exclusive Dalek Sec figure, which looks great. I'm glad I got that figure. Then the Cyber Throne Room, Grandma Colony there, chilling. And then my boxed figures, which I'm probably going to move into another little space. San Diego Comic Con exclusive, 9th Doctor Father's Day. And then Time Crash and the Genetic Handprint Dalek. And then we've got my various new series Cybermen. You can see this was my first ever Cyberman figure. He's a little bit battered, but love him. And then we've got the variant of the then we've got a variant of a Cyber Controller and all the various Jadoons. So that is that shelf. So here we have the final bit of the 10th Doctor and the start of the 11th Doctor. So got some more 10th Doctor variants there, as you can see. It's always a shame they never did a standard 10th Doctor in that costume. It's a bit of a shame. Then we move down to more 10th Doctor variants, as you can see. The B&M one there, and obviously some more. One will come into Toys R Us set, and then the End of Time 10th Doctor, then the 11th Doctor. Figures there, the Generation 1 Raggedy Doctor. Then probably my favourite Matt Smith figure, the sort of Series 5 Blue Bow Tie one. I absolutely love that one. Got such fond memories of that figure. It's a great figure, love that. And obviously the standard Series 5 one, then the 13th Doctor one, then the Adventure Set one. And then obviously the various Daleks, and obviously we've got the weathered Crucible Dalek, which I love because I do like sort of weathered Daleks, they do look very cool. And then we have the excellent Dalek Supreme, love that, Davros, and then the Ironside Daleks. Some of my absolute favourite figures actually, because I love the Ironside Dalek as a sort of design and as a concept. You know, Daleks are meant to be these tanks, and they really do look like sort of tanks in that form, and I do love that. Paradigm Daleks, I love them. The Half, they're great figures. The Half are quite underrated as figures. I think they're really cool figures. I do love the Half. Vesperform, one of my favourite figures in my collection, and one of the most sought after figures really. So yeah, I'm very glad I have that. So we've got some various new Series Sontarans there, a little army, as you can see. Series 5 Cybermen. Obviously, I think that was an Argos exclusive, that figure. And then we have the Time Crash set there. One of my favourite 10th Doctor figures, that. And then we have the sort of variant of the Vashnarada Suit Creature. Again, brilliant, brilliant figures. So this is the original release. Then this was the sort of Vesperform release there. And then that was the B&M one with a slightly sort of matte finish instead of the sort of glossy helmet. The Time Lords there, and various other companions there, and obviously we've got Corwin, which has 2 right hands, so that's a bit odd. And then obviously the Tasca exclusive Captain Jack figure, and Balakatalata, very cool figure. So that is that shelf and the 2 Amelia Pond variants there as well. So here we have the final shelf with the final bit of Matt Smith, the 12th Doctor, and of course the 13th Doctor. So you've got the last few Matt Smith variants there, as you can see, the Stetson, the Fez, jacketless one. And then obviously the Toys R Us blue bow tie one there, exclusive with the metallic Paradigm Dalek, which looks absolutely great. I love that strategist Dalek. And again, I really do like the sort of weathered Supreme Dalek, and obviously the more sort of metallic drone figure. And obviously we've got a regenerated 12th Doctor, then the 13th Doctor's War Doctor, and then a spare 10th Doctor. Then rather bizarrely we have the sort of stone figures, which I do actually kind of like, and then the brilliant Recon Dalek, I love that. And then we've got some various Weeping Angel variants there, as you can see, which are all very cool. And then Francesco, one of the big peg warmers, and the 3 Oswin variants, Uncle and Idris and then Nephew. And then some more 11th Doctor variants, as you can see, and then different Bill Potts variants. Obviously we've got the recent Jadoon, and then the 13th Doctor line, and then obviously the Pandorica chair, which is very cool. The Silence, some of the great figures. I absolutely love the Silence figures. I think they're really great. You can see they're slightly different. Obviously I think that was wave 1, that was wave 1B, and that was wave 1A. The peach coloured ones, and the grey ones were wave 1B, and I think this one, no, this one was part of the B&M set I got. And then the various Missy variants, as you can see, the Silurians. Then quite a few corroded Cybermen. This is the one I was on about for the 13th Doctor. As you can see, it's a lot more shinier, more silver compared to sort of the more corroded look of the Series 6 ones. Then we have these sort of Mondasian, sort of new series style ones with the different chest units. I've basically given the gun from that one to that one there. And obviously, the loads of Peter Capaldis. Quite a few. When you look at it, quite a few. Obviously you've got a different B&M version there, which is all very cool. So that is that shelf. So here is the shelves all complete and all rearranged with obviously the new B&M set. So let's have a little close look. So obviously we've got some of the new Dead Planet Daleks there, a bit of a 10th Planet display there with all the various Cybermen in the first Doctor in the TARDIS. Chase Guard Dalek looking all great. I've done a little Dalek Invasion of Earth little display there. You can see the Roboman and the Toys R Us first Doctor and the various sort of drone Daleks, which is very cool. And obviously we've got a bit of a Tomb of the Cybermen display there with all the various Cybermen. Second Doctor, obviously I've moved the ice rays a bit forward just so it's a little bit more interesting instead of it's just Daleks and Cybermen, because obviously most of the first Doctor is just Daleks really and Cybermen, so I thought I'd add the ice rays there for a little bit more variety. And I've got the War Games Second Doctor there, ready, well, looking all battered and bruised, ready to face his exile to Earth. And one of the most satisfying things is having good old unit family together. Look at that. I'm incredibly pleased to have Sergeant Benton and Captain Yates on the shelf, and oh, it looks great to have a little unit display, and obviously it'd be great to have Liz Shaw added to that. Obviously we've got some Autons there, a bit of Evil of a Daleks display there, as you can see, and a bit of a 3 Doctors sort of thing there with Omega and the Gel Guard, and then sort of the 3 Doctors, 3rd Doctor and 1st Doctor and 2nd Doctor. And then of course got the Axon and Carnival of Monsters 3rd Doctor trying to fend off the hand puppet of the Drashig. So got a bit of a Death of the Daleks display there. I thought I'd add the sort of Planet of the Daleks 3rd Doctor figure on the front just to add a bit more variety and a bit more colour. And he does look rather good next to the Day of the Dalek Supreme. And of course I've added an extra Ice Warrior there to go with the Paladin 3rd Doctor. Obviously I've got the Spare Brigadier there with obviously the Master TARDIS Time Warrior set. And one thing I like doing is if there's a regeneration figure, I like to have that there to be sort of a transition. Obviously that's a custom 3rd Doctor, but you'll see more when we go down to the 80s. Sea Devils obviously, and good old little Bok. I love Bok, great little figure. So there we go, that's the 3rd Doctor. Moving down to the 4th Doctor, look at that, Sarah Jane and Harry Sullivan on the shelf together. Look at that, I'm so happy with that. Because I tried to sort of recreate one of these sort of promo images for Revenge of the Cybermen. So yeah, that's very cool. K1 there, one of my favourite figures. Great Zygons. Obviously we've got the Rumoured Terror of the Zygon set, so obviously be adding Brigadier and Benton and possibly a proper Harry Sullivan there. Got a bit of a Genesis of a Daleks display there. Obviously Tom Baker being strangled by the Dalek mutant, but a famous cliffhanger. Morbius, lovely figure. Now we move on to some sort of companions. Got a Talented Wang Chang thing, and obviously Romana 1 there, looking great next to the Shard of Tom. I've got the sort of Invasion of Time DMAT gun there, looking very badass with Tom Baker. Then we've got sort of a Pyramids of Mars thing there, and obviously the Vok robots, etc. Then of course we have lovely Romana 2 next to the Bomber Dalek. And this is what I mean about regeneration sort of display. As you can see, I've got the Season 18 4th Doctor and obviously 5th Doctor. Yeah, so there we go, it's various Cybermen, various 5th Doctor variants there. Obviously 4th Doctor holding the Mona Lisa, because I thought that'd be quite a cool way of displaying it. Good old Davros and Anthony Ainley, and again, an example of sort of a regeneration thing there, regenerated 5th Doctor and 6th Doctor, and then Perry there to sort of act as like a transition between them, which is all very cool. Some more various Daleks there, 6th Doctor variants. And a bit of a remembrance of a Daleks display there, with obviously Ace with a baseball bat and McCoy being strangled. So yeah, that's rather pleasant. Obviously got some Cybermen there, a 7th Doctor, and the Axis Strikes Toward Dalek. Then we've got the wonderful Dalek Alpha, and Paul McGann looking great. Love that 8th Doctor figure. Moving down, we've got the rest of the 8th Doctor there, with the various sort of big finish 8th Doctor there, and Daleks, and sort of a display of the 8th Doctor sort of getting ready to regenerate, I guess. And then obviously the Scientist Daleks, and the Night of the Doctor 8th Doctor, and then the War Doctor, and good old Chris Eccleston. And then obviously we've got the Gelf Builder figure there, and various other things there, which is all very cool. Very nice Father's Day 9th Doctor. Then move on to the 10th Doctor. Got the Grask figure there, because obviously to sort of be a wink and a nod to Attack of the Grask, that interactive thing, and again, nice little regeneration display there. All the various Cybermen looking very cool, and Clockwork Droids, and yeah, very nice. Some more figures there, obviously Grandma Colony, and the Toby Z figures, Genesis Arc and the original Dalek Sec, and obviously Corwin's been moved up here to the other shelf, and Captain Jack and Lilith. Moving down to the last bit of the 10th Doctor era, got the various Oods and the Master, and the little adipose, and I've added Sarah Jane from the 4th Doctor shelf to sort of the 10th Doctor to be sort of a Stolen Earth sort of display, which is rather cool. The adipose there, sort of a Voyager a damn thing. And I love the Pyrovel Magna creatures, they're just great. I love those figures. And the Sontaran Experiment. And the various sort of new series Sontarans there. Silence in the Library displayed there, and obviously got some damaged Cybermen, which I always wish they sort of did like an actual button you could press and they sort of explode. That would have been really cool. Vesper Form, Time Crash set, then sort of End of Time display there. And then the regeneration between 10th and 11. And Face of Bow. And my Dalek Iron from the Dalek Ironside, I love them, great figures. And obviously the Paradigm and sort of a Beast Below thing there. And obviously I've got a sort of shark to sort of represent sort of maybe the adventure game or the sort of Christmas Carol. And there we go, that's that shelf. And then the final shelf, a lot of people ask me about sort of General Kulak and the Weevil. My basic thing is they were in the Pandora Opens in the Alliance, weren't they? They were seen there, so I've put them there to tie in with those. Got the Silurians there, all very cool. Younger Doctor, and all the various corroded Cybermen. And the Astronaut, brilliant figure, love that. And the Silence again, fantastic figures there. So yeah, a little bit of Asylum with a Daleks display there. And obviously they have the Doctor, the Curator and the War Doctor and the 10th Doctor, and the various Peter Capaldi figures. And again, a nice little regeneration display there. And obviously the 12th Doctor and then the 13th Doctor and Fam there looking all great. And obviously the Recon Dalek there and the Jadoon. And obviously a little Magician's Apprentice display there. So that is what the shelves look like. So I hope you have enjoyed this video, seeing all the various figures. And yeah, thank you very much and goodbye.